Hey everybody, good afternoon. Welcome back to Tim Travels. As always, I'm your host Terry. Shout out to all our cool subscribers. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, like, comment. But I appreciate all the subscribers we have here in Tim Travels Nation. Back on the road today, as of this morning. Left a little bit early from my parking spot just because I was worried about a travel advisory for freezing roads during the morning commute. Picked up in Baltimore this morning. I'm in Ohio today. And headed out to Iowa. Got to drop out there tomorrow, so I'll probably have to put on some extra layers when I get out there because it's pretty cold. Anyway, I wanted to just talk about something that I for obvious reasons, think about every day, and that is parking. Where am I going to park? Am I going to have, any amenities where I park, etc.? And I've kind of thought about this for a couple reasons. One is a video came across my suggestions on YouTube, and I saw this trucker. It seemed like he's been doing this a while, maybe 10, 15 years. And he was complaining about reserved parking at a Flying J / Pilot, where he reserved parking, but then he was not saved a spot because apparently they don't really enforce the reserved parking at Pilot and Flying J the way that maybe they do at TA. And of course, those are three of the, Petro, TA have a lot of paid parking. Flying J and Pilot have some paid parking, some reserved, supposedly paid parking, and then of course Love's has stated that they're not going to charge for parking. So his complaint was that he doesn't mind paying for parking, but if he pays for it and he reserves a spot, he expects the spot to be there. And I don't blame him. I have, knock on wood, never paid for parking. However, it doesn't mean I wouldn't. It just means that I've been lucky enough not to have to. So, but he went on to comment, and I apologize, I don't know his channel name, but he went on to comment that really the problem is that the government does not do enough to provide parking for trucks. And so, he didn't have a problem paying for parking on private property. He's just saying there's just not enough public parking, i.e. rest areas, truck parking areas, etc. And so, I also was reading the OOIDA, kind of their talking points. Parking is one of their big issues too, and they want the government to get involved and make more parking spots. So I'm going to throw a couple of thoughts out there that that I have about parking, and hopefully it'll spur some debate or some ideas. So the first thing is, a lot of people complain. A lot of drivers complain about TA and Petro, and then I guess by extension, to maybe not to as great of an extent, but about Flying J and Pilot charging for parking. Well, the truth of the matter is, it's private property. They're businesses, they're for-profit entities, and they have decided that paying for a spot for your truck is part of their business model, and I presume that they have tested the market, surveyed people, and they feel like it's not going to cost them customers, or if it does, they'll make up for it with the parking fees. Love's has said, hey, we're not going to charge for parking, and that's our policy. And obviously Love's is a private company. They could change that at any time. So conceptually, I don't have a problem with the fact that a for-profit entity charges for parking. As to whether the government should spend taxpayer money on parking, or more parking spots, I think that the argument from some, truck drivers, truck advocates, truck driving advocates, is that, we as truck drivers move basically every single item at some point in the transit, every single item that a consumer in this country buys, or a factory uses, whatever you want to say, is hauled by truck. And so we're an essential part of the U.S. economy. I don't debate that we're an essential part of the U.S. economy. The U.S. economy, probably around 60 to 65% of our gross domestic product is based on consumer spending. So we are, no pun intended, driving the economy. However, we're also in a for-profit business. And the idea that the government, using taxpayer money at every level, is going to just build more parking spots because there are more trucks, might rub people the wrong way. Because, like I said, we're making money doing it. And so other people might argue that the cost of parking at, say, a TA and a Petro is just the cost of doing business. In other words, if you got to pay $15 a day for parking, well, then just build it into your business model as the carrier. But the other thing that I'm curious about whether truck drivers would accept, is what if the government did build more parking but charged for it? And you say, well, that's ridiculous. You can't charge for parking at rest areas. Well, the truth of the matter is lots of governmental entities, like especially big cities, charge for parking. It's usually for cars, SUVs, but I know several big cities operate parking garages. Their goal is to make a profit, to put money back in the coffers of the city. So what if the state of Ohio says, hey, we're building a trucks-only parking area. It'll have some bathrooms. It's not going to be super fancy, but you can park there for $5, or you could just use your Easy Pass when you come in. Would people park there, knowing that it would handle a lot of trucks, and probably the state would be able to enforce getting people off the shoulders, off the on-ramp and off-ramp, which I personally find to be unsafe, especially when people won't even put their parking lights on. I just came by a bunch of trucks that have, like, snow plows had to go around them because they're parked on the shoulder here in Ohio. So is that a solution? Or is a solution, like, say, in New England, where it's so tough to find any parking, or northern New Jersey? Would a solution, instead of building a truck stop that has parking, could private entities just get a space? Maybe it's awaiting development of some other kind. So its highest and best use is not as a big truck parking lot, but it's, a residential subdivision or mixed use high rises. But until that property gets developed, even if it was for a year, some company that wants to run a truck parking area says, hey, We'll push a little bit of dirt here. We don't have to have any services. We'll pave it, stripe it, throw in some porta potties, and we'll just charge people $5 or $10 a night to park there. Because in certain areas, especially like the densely populated parts of New England, think around Boston, Connecticut, Rhode Island, places like that, or even farther north like New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, it is super tough to find parking. My strategy, I used to run into New England periodically. I haven't in a while, but my strategy was always get in and get out the same day. Get in, drop my load, pick up whatever I need to pick up, and get out of Dodge. Try to at least get back to like New York State. But would people pay for that parking? Would companies who have a lot of company drivers, like when I was at night, would they reserve parking, like pay for 5 spots a night, 365 days a year, just so their drivers have parking? Because I parked in some crazy places in New England, the rest areas on the turnpike, it's just like, you get there at 10 o'clock at night, it's just like, can I park in this spot and not block anybody? I mean, nobody cares about anything else. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw those ideas out there, those thoughts. What's the solution for parking? Is it some drivers just need to drive all night and park during the day? I mean, I think a lot of people already do that. I personally get up pretty dang early and get on the road so that I can park typically by mid-afternoon. Today I parked right around a little bit after 4 p.m. But tomorrow I will be doing my pre-trip around 2:15 a.m. and then on the road after that, so I can get this load delivered, get to my next pickup, and still get to parking somewhere that I would like to park before the rush hits. So anyway, just some ideas, just some thoughts. It's a problem. It's not going to get solved overnight, but I think as a community, as an industry, we got to be creative and think about the public, think about ourselves, think about for-profit entities and what would motivate people to create more parking. So anyway, appreciate y'all. Thanks for subscribing, liking, commenting. Be safe out there. It's going to be super cold in a lot of places, a lot more snow coming. Just take it easy and get there safely. Bye.